Cheers.
I have electrolytes today.
I have tea, peppermint tea.
Lovely. Sounds like
Mhm.
winter over there.
Yeah, here I really wanted lemon ginger tea, and I'm out, which I discovered moments before the call.
Okay, okay. Do you
And
usually
my
drink peppermint tea in the
uh,
summer?
usually at night, and I would have gone for green tea, but then I was like, it's a little late for green tea. I feel like such an old person.
But 5 p.m. And that is if you're sensitive to caffeine, that is late for
Yeah.
anything caffeinated. That's fair.
Ironically, I'm not sensitive to caffeine though, so I don't like it's a moot point. Um,
Okay.
anyways,
Okay.
we're halfway through the year,
We are
essentially.
halfway through the year. I feel like today is basically that day.
Today's the day where we talk about our favorite albums thus far of this year.
I prepared this morning. I listened to all 3 of my albums I'm bringing to the table
Okay, okay.
today. Mm.
I listen to some of the songs on my albums because I just always listen to them. And I also, just in case you came with like, hey, here are my top three, but also honorable mention too, I also have my honorable mention album or two.
Okay. I actually did have an honorable mention album, but it wasn't from this year. It was one of
Same.
my favorite albums I discovered this year.
Hmm.
Are your other 3 albums, are they 3 albums that were released this year?
Well, yeah, what would be the point of this video if they
Yeah,
were?
no, okay, that's what I thought. That's what mine was too, but your honorable one is
It was
not
it
from
was
this year.
it was released in December. So it's like,
Okay,
when
okay.
an album comes out in December, I can't declare it as like my favorite album of the year or my
That's
favorite
so
album.
valid.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
why don't we each do our honorable mentions? And mine is my favorite from that I discovered this year that is not from last year or any years recent.
oh,
And yours. But I discovered it this year and I've been
yeah.
listening to it and
Yes.
I thought that was significant. But and then yours can be the one from 2025 and we can do each of those as well.
Mhm.
And we'll do our
Mhm.
3.
Mhm. I feel like we must start with you then with your honorable mention.
We're gonna start with my honorable mention.
Well, yeah.
My honorable mention is the album Moon Dance by Van Morrison. So,
Oh.
yeah. So I have found that album this year, and it then added a new favorite song to my all-time favorites this year, which is Into the Mystic. That is one of those songs that like fucking touched my soul when I heard it for the first time. And I was like, holy shit. And I feel like it's been on a backdrop. And then there's also other music from it that I really like. I really like the song Caravan. Crazy Love, It Stoned Me. That might be the name, but something like that. But I just think it's a phenomenal album and it really opened me up to like Van Morrison as a whole. And it's been on repeat for me and I can like walk around the neighborhood and it puts me in such a specific mood, even though it's obviously from a long time ago, but it's something brand new that just like really opened me up and discovered this year and has even become again an all-time favorite for one of the songs. So
I am not necessarily I wouldn't have been able to guess that right off the bat, but I'm not surprised to hear that based on how often I feel like I've seen you post on Pearl Van Morrison songs, your daily
yeah,
vibe, or I think I may have even seen you change out an all-time favorite song. So that checks out. Do you know what year it came out or no?
it came out probably the 70s. Dun, dun, big reveal. 1970.
1970 exactly. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's your honorable mention of a song of an album that you've just discovered this year, which I do
this
feel
year.
like that applies. I mean, like it's not underneath the topic of what we're discussing, but it applies because sometimes music is not linear. You don't necessarily always discover it when it comes out.
There's so much new music to be discovered still that's like
Mhm.
sitting out there. Okay.
Okay.
What's yours for your 2025 December album?
Okay, well, this is another thing. It's not an album, it's an EP. So does this count? I think there's like 7 songs on it. Does it count? I think
Seven's pretty substantial. Yeah,
I,
I'll give it to you. I'll give it. This is also your honorable mention. So
this is
there's
right.
a
It's an
6.
honorable
Yeah.
mention, and it's a collection of songs underneath one EP album that I've been listening to, and is Fridays, Everybody Got Somebody. I'd say he leans more R&B style, and I've noticed that I have listened to every single song pretty religiously this year, and
Okay.
realized today that I was like, oh, you know how when like an album or a collection of songs creeps up on you in a way where you don't even necessarily realize that you love the entire thing as a whole, but then you go and listen, you're like, I have somehow learned every single lyric of all of these songs and I listen to them all the time. Like this has really made an impact on me. That's kind of what that EP did.
Tell me more about who this person is as an artist because I can tell you I've probably seen you post and I've probably heard some of the songs on Pearl, but never went further. So I've literally not a clue who this artist is. So you have the opportunity to introduce me
To
to.
introduce you. Well, I will say prior to this EP, I do believe he has an album, but prior to this EP, I never listened to any of his own music. He's featured in a lot of songs. He's featured in a lot of R&B songs. So the name was familiar, Friday with two Y's. The name is familiar to me, but I almost didn't even recognize that I recognized him from being featured in all of these songs until recently. And I put it together and I was like, oh, I know him from so many songs in this world, but they're none of his. He's just on them. I think he's just like the epitome of R&B. I don't know if I don't want to say there's like nothing that stands out. There's something about his voice. There's something about the way he chooses to use vocals with the melodies and then what he speaks of too. It just there because I don't want to say all R&B music sounds the same to my ears and I don't really necessarily know what it is about his songs that feel like butter to my ears, but it's kind of like to compare, and this was also maybe going to be an honorable mention, but we only get one. So, but to compare his voice and his sound to somebody in a way that it's unique to me, it's kind of like Giveon. You know, like Giveon's voice
Oh,
is
yeah,
just
yeah.
very unique. And I'm not saying this guy's voice is the same style of uniqueness, but there's just something about it that hits me every time I hear it. And every time he comes on shuffle, he's a no skipper.
I'm looking him up right now.
Okay.
Looks like he's from Philly.
Ah,
Okay, so he's done things with DJ Khaled, Lil Baby. It looks like, is he on tour? Is he opening for someone?
saw he's apparently going to be in Chicago on October 31st.
Supporting Rod Wave.
Mhm.
Who's Rod
Mhm.
Wave? Do you know?
Yeah, I know a couple of his songs too, but I feel like he's one of those people where I have his songs saved, but I don't necessarily realize how much of his songs I have saved. So,
How have I never like? I mean, he's selling out major because I saw that Friday's on tour, but going like major like arenas. Like
mhm.
opening for arenas, not going to an independent venue. So I'm like, who is this Rod Wave? Because I mean, it's United Center, Chase Center.
Yeah.
Who is Rod Wave? I feel like now I'm like I'm just interested because now I'm like gonna go listen to some new music. Okay. Anyways, that's something new. So Friday is on tour this year, opening for Rod Wave.
Mhm. He has a lot of songs with Chris Brown. I've noticed every album it seems they do a song together of Chris Brown's. He has Friday on a song. So I know him from a lot of that music too. But that's my honorable mention.
Should we go back and forth, one and one, on our three albums?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll start
you go.
with one of my favorite albums of the year. This is probably the one that was released first this year, but it's going to be ASAP Rocky's Don't Be Dumb.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
What's your
Yeah,
favorite song on it?
Order of Protection. Like right off the
Okay, no
bat,
brainer.
first song
No
on the
brainer.
album, no brainer. That could potentially be one of my top played songs of the year. I feel like it's going to be in my top 10 for sure of played songs
Okay.
for the year. And that song is just like, I love putting my headphones in and listening to that fucking song. Like, I feel like nobody can fuck with me when I listen to that fucking song. Like,
Okay, I was just about to ask you like what vibe does it give you when you listen to it? And I
yeah,
feel
I
like
feel
you just
like
answered that.
yeah, nobody can fuck with me when I'm listening to that song. And then I also like Stay Here for Life. That's my other second favorite song on the album. I really like it as a whole. I feel like it was well written. We hadn't gotten anything from ASAP in a while. And it also just like kicked off the year. I remember we had just launched Pearl and it was like we got all of this new music right away. And I remember ASAP's was like, we're off to a good start here this year.
Okay. I haven't listened to that full album. I listened to a couple of songs from it, but I never listened to the full thing. What style? Because ASAP lands under rap, obviously, hip hop rap, but do you feel like that album leans towards a sub-genre of that?
It depends because I feel like the songs that I liked were more rap focused, but he goes a little bit slower it's kind of a variety of his rap styles, I feel like, throughout the songs, and he has some different features, like Dochi's on there, Brent Faiyaz, he's on Stay Here for Life. What are some of the other features that he has on here? But I would say, I mean, I feel like it's just general rap and it was good, really good writing, but it does vary in the beats and the flow of it all. Gorillas, Will I Am, Tyler the Creator was on there. So,
Okay. Okay. My first favorite album is, no surprise, J. Cole's The Fall Off.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. That was,
I,
wait, they were released around the same time where it was like
were they?
so much good new rap. Yeah.
Well, yeah, J. Cole it wasn't January, he was March. So I don't know if it was the same time as ASAP, but
Don't
I don't
listen
know
to
when
me then.
ASAP's. Okay.
Don't-
Okay.
just ignore. Just
Um,
ignore that commentary I had.
I feel like J. Cole, this is probably one of my favorite albums for him. I like this one more than his past one or his most recent one prior to this. For the longest time, my favorite song was I Love Her Again, which is just a very
Mhm.
cleverly written song. And recently, in the last month and a half, maybe 2 months, it took a change. I still love that song, but all of a sudden, Poor Thing came out of nowhere for me.
Oh,
And I
okay.
feel
Yeah, that
like
was a good song.
when you say how you feel about putting that ASAP Rocky song on your, that's how I feel about Poor Thing. I saw this video of a girl. That's the song where he's like, he says punk bitch maybe 85 times. And there's just, I've really gotten in the groove of trying to learn the lyrics because he says stuff so quickly. And it wasn't until I could really see the lyrics where I was able to fully comprehend all that he was saying. Yeah, that's my favorite song off that album right now. I also think that might be, I would be surprised if that's not on my top 5 most played songs this year.
Well, I wanna look up I liked that album too. I feel like when both of us initially listened to it, we picked out different songs that we liked off of it because we added them to our current rotation in Pearl. You loved it a lot more than I did. I feel like you like J. Cole a lot more than I do. But my 2 songs that I really liked off of it was Who the Fuck Is
Who the
You?
fuck is you? Mhm.
That one, that's another one of those songs, just like Order of Protection, where I'm like, you can't fuck with me. You know, like you
Mhm.
can't fuck with me when I'm listening to that song. And then I also liked Only You, J. Cole
Okay.
and Burna Boy.
Okay. And that, yeah, that's, I remember you loving Who the Fuck Is You. I
Yeah.
didn't know Only You was your second favorite, but
Yeah.
yeah, I really enjoy that album a lot. And there's really only
So
like
much so you're gonna go see it live
so
in
much
a
so I'm
couple
gonna see
weeks.
it live. There's only like, that's a, how many, is it like 22 songs on that?
Dude, it's a fucking dense album.
But
Yeah, it
that
is.
said,
It's his last album, right? Tech maybe?
supposedly
24 songs. 24
Tw-
songs.
of the 24 songs on that album, I think I regularly listen to 21 of them. There's really only 3 songs
That's
that I
fucking
don't.
impressive.
It's crazy. Like
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of rare for you to fuck with every single song regularly on an album that you love. Regardless of if you love every song, it's not often that you're going to listen to every single song on the regular.
Especially right off the bat, I feel like there's certain albums you can go back to and then unlock more from it or different
Yes.
pieces later on. But I feel like it's still being, I don't know, everything released within the last 6 months. That is very rare to right off the bat, like
Yeah.
21 songs off of it. I've definitely gone to albums where I've listened to them over a period and like initially picked out this set, then listened through it more, or like also life circumstances change. So then certain
Mhm.
songs you relate to a little bit more during periods, but that's pretty fucking, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you talked about like the lyrics or looking at the lyrics with it. I've been doing that this year where when I've been listening to new rap albums, I've been having the lyric feature on when listening through
Mhm.
the song for the first time because I care about the writing when it comes to
Yeah.
those. Yeah.
Especially even so with a rapper where they're spitting so much, if you don't have the lyrics in front of you, you will miss stuff. You will not be
Yeah.
able to hear it all.
And you're
Um,
like, oh shit, that was clever as fuck.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
yeah. And these are not necessarily in any particular order, though I will say I think maybe his is my favorite, but I
Okay,
didn't
okay.
even know that I didn't know that when I said it. So,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
okay. Okay,
What's your second?
my second favorite is Slater. She is pop. She's like hyper pop right now. She's
Mhm.
probably one of the biggest pop stars this year, you know?
Okay.
And her album Worst Girl in America, that is one of my favorites released this year so far. Let's see, how do I explain this? I like her as a person. I think she's really just real. She has good vocals, but it's also her actual music is very hyper pop. So like some of it has auto-tune on it when she performs, but she can also do an acoustic version of it and has good vocals, which is real like hearing these songs are like that would be so hard to do and she's done it. And I just think she kind of leans more into the like Kesha aesthetic and the messy girl type of aesthetic or just not perfectly polished type of thing. And I think it's really refreshing and she's just super real, and her interviews have also gotten me. I knew that she was kind of up and coming in the pop scene, and I saw some of her songs, like people having them on Instagram or shit like that, and people talking about her. And I was like, I don't know if this is gonna be my style. And then I started seeing her do interviews, and I was like, okay, I fuck with her as a person. So she is from St. Louis. One of the interviews I saw originally, which you'll relate to this hard, is that she was talking about how she's from St. Louis, but went to a public school in St. Louis. And like, she was like, yeah.
G forbid.
Yeah. And the way,
No, but specifically in St. Louis, like G forbid
yes.
someone from St. Louis goes to a public school.
You
Yeah.
explain this a little bit because you went to Mizzou and you got this fucking firsthand, this whole experience. But
Fucking culture shock because to me, we grew up
we went to a
more
public school.
we went to public school and more often than not in our environment and even in the vicinity around us it was more common to go to public school than it was to go to private school. And I go down to college in Missouri and it's just people from three hubs. It's either St. Louis, Kansas City, or Chicago, and so much of St. Louis. And every time we were at any sort of social setting or bar, anybody from St. Louis that was meeting each other, their first question was, where did you go to high school? And this was blasphemous to me because I was like, who gives a fuck where anybody went to high school? We're not there anymore. But everybody only went to private school. And if you went to public school, you were immediately judged by anybody else in St. Louis that went to a private school. And that was so odd to me. So
And they were spending what, like tuition of college to go to these
college
private schools, which
for I think for a lot of people, tuition for high school at private school was more expensive than college.
because then they were in state at Mizzou. Like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Anyways, sorry, I had to
Uh,
give a little context there about why I was like, gee forbid.
well, that's why I knew this from you and hearing it, but I feel like nobody really talks about it much. And hearing her in an interview break this down and be like, I went to public school. If anybody knows anything about St. Louis, and the way she explained it, it was like I felt like I was on the inside. I don't know.
Mhm.
It made me really
You got
connect.
it.
I got it, and I felt like the way she talked about it, and I got it, and I liked her in that
Mhm.
exact moment. She made this album. She had been doing music for a while, and this was kind of nothing was like fully working. She wasn't fully breaking through. She had some success, and this album was her last hurrah at making music. And she was like, I did whatever the fuck I wanted for this
Mhm.
album, and I made the album I wanted to make. And it is probably going to be one of the top albums of the year and has completely skyrocketed her. And I feel like it just goes to show the authenticity of it all and like telling your story and creating what you want to create outside of the audience, especially in pop music, is really tough to do because of all the pressure of getting it to succeed. And I feel like she did it and it's new and it's different. I really fuck with the album. I like the intro, so it goes pretty like hype, like you kind of need to be kind of lubed up for the album because it can like the songs are, it's very dance hyper pop. But
Okay.
the intro, she has this song Dance. It's literally called Dance, and that's the first song in it. And she has this intro that's like 45 seconds. And she was like, I intentionally did it. She was like, I think of an album, an experience, and a story. And you need a little warm up to get into their world and their space. And it's such a cool intro. So that just kind of like tease it off. And then I really like Beat Up Chanel, Old Technology, and Crank. And she's also
Okay.
bi too. So that's also like a plug that I like. Yeah, no, I'm excited to see what else she does, but really good album.
I can't say I've listened to I don't think any of her songs. I've seen the
Yeah.
name. I feel like I can
Mhm.
once you said the name, I'm like, I can see that, but I don't think I've ever heard it's not even like I've never listened. I've never heard any of her songs. Um,
Yeah.
so that's interesting to know. I'm gonna have to look at her, especially if, or look her up, especially if she's one of your favorite albums of the year so far. Slater. Does she spell it with two Y's or is it one
Yep.
Y? Two
Yep.
Friday with two Y's, Slater with two Y's.
Yep.
It's
Actually,
a
is
big
it 2
thing.
Ys or 3 Ys? I think it's
Oh
2 Ys.
gosh, that's extra spicy.
3 Ys, Kayla.
Three Y's. Wow.
3 Ys.
Oh, because I get it's like Slater, right? Like,
I'm guessing, yeah. But I don't know.
I would imagine.
I would imagine, yeah, but yeah.
Or else, if not, maybe she'd go two Y's. You know, like Slater with two Y's doesn't necessarily give like Slater. It just gives Slater
Yeah,
with a little
she's
extra.
really emphasizing on the sleigh. Okay, what's your second?
My second, I feel like will also come as no surprise to you, is Ella Mai's album that she released the same day as J. Cole on March 6th, titled Do You Still Love Me? I don't know how confident I am about this decision in retrospect, and not because I don't love the album. Obviously, it's still one of my favorites from this year, and my favorite of Ella Mai's in general, and one of my favorite R&B albums ever. But when it came out, I gave it a listen and I immediately loved it so much. That stayed true. But in my top 5 all-time favorite albums, they're first-lived SZA's Control albums since it came out. And I actually bumped SZA's Control for Ella Mai's Do You Still Love Me? And sitting here today, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I want to bump SZA back in and take Ellen back. They're both the albums are very similar to me, and I hate that I have to choose one. But when I want to incorporate all the music that I listen to, this type of category only gets one, and that's where I'm at. But as far as my favorite songs off the album, first and foremost is Might Just, which she actually just released the music video for it today. I haven't seen it yet, but it looks spicy. I gotta watch it. But that was my favorite song immediately from day one, and it stands to this day. And then I also really, really love her single, Little Things, off of it.
I've heard that
Um,
one.
that one had a resurgence for me. Like it came out and I appreciated it as a single. And then the album came out and I was listening to the album and Might Just really took the number one spot, which it still is. But then all of a sudden, Little Things came back around for me. And I was like, this one I have a new appreciation for it in retrospect with the whole album. And then my last top 3 favorite songs from that is her last song on the album, No Angels, which is a very different sound than Might Just or Little Things. So yeah, I'm seeing her tomorrow. So nope,
Hell yeah.
I'm seeing her on Thursday. So
Thursday.
very excited for that in general. And especially because I really like this album, I'm ready to sing along to every single song.
Fuck yes. That
Mhm.
feels so good. I feel like sometimes when there's a new album in a year and you wanna see someone, you might not be fully prepared for the new album, but you're gonna be fucking ready to roll.
I'm gonna be ready to roll. When it comes
Ready
to
to fucking roll.
J. Cole's concert might be a little different because there's a lot more words going on there, and it's really hard to know every single lyric
You're
of
not gonna go
24
bar
songs.
for bar with J. Cole? Come on, Kayla.
As as much as I'd love to, I
Fake
don't know.
fan. No, I'm just kidding. That's so hard to do. Do you think
Yeah.
your brother will be able to?
Yeah, I think, and I honestly, for my favorite songs on the album, I'll be able to go bar for bar, especially Poor Thing, which I'm really quite proud of right now. But I won't be able to do that for all 24 songs. I think Jake similarly will probably be able to go bar for at least half of them. But regardless, I might not be able to be there yet with every single lyric of every single song on the album. But I appreciate it and I love it. And I obviously will also
I don't
sing.
think anybody's gonna doubt that or judge that with you listening to 21 songs of it regularly and knowing most of the lyrics of your favorite songs. I don't
That's
think anybody's questioning. Kayla doesn't know every single fucking
fake
lyric.
fan.
She's
Yeah.
fake.
Uh, so yeah, but that won't be a problem with LMA because obviously it's a very different style of music and it's a lot
Yeah.
easier to retain the lyrics. So that's my favorite second album.
Okay. Okay, I'm
What's your
gonna go
third?
third. Third, I've already told you this. I've said it on here. It's Vince Staples' Crybaby. I think the collection of songs, I think the story that was told, his sound, his beats on it, I just think the whole thing. Again, it's very cohesive, like I said last time, very thematic. I really like how it's a story. And I like
Hmm.
just about every song on that one. If I'm going to listen to that one, I'm going to listen to the whole album. Whereas for the other ones, there are some songs that I could skip on those
Hmm.
albums, but this one I like to listen to all the way through, and I just think it was a work of art, a work of
Hmm.
art. But my favorites are Cotton, Go Go Gorilla, and White Flag.
I'm
Yeah,
very intrigued just by the title alone. I'm very intrigued about Go Go Gorilla.
that is my favorite of all of them, so
Okay.
you should listen to that one.
Okay. And where would you style or where would you categorize him as far as genre?
Rap.
Rap. But not like a sub, not like alternative rap or trap rap or like it's just like
He
straight
technically
rap.
is more alternative. Like, that
Okay.
is technically the album is listed as alternative, so I guess it would be
Okay.
more alternative rap.
Okay. I've been
Yeah.
noticing so many albums and just style of music lately shifting into not just being one genre and it needing like a subgenre, which
Yeah.
that's fine. I have like no necessarily personal opinion, but I saw the BET Awards the other night, and was it the BET Awards? Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
it was like I think Leon Thomas won not for best R&B album, but it was like best alternative R&B, or it was like it had to be like a subgenre, and so I've just been noticing this a lot more in music.
I do find that there is so much more music and it's like bending genres that it makes sense, but I also find that that is one of my hardest things to explain. I feel like I cannot I know there's just so many terms for different things and stuff like that, and I feel like that is where I'm like, I don't know, it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know, it's its own style every time or it's its own thing, and I feel like it's so hard for me to give those adjectives or categorize something correctly because even talking about Slater's, like, hyperpop, I'm like, "Is that the right way to categorize this? Is it like, how the fuck do I talk about this?" Or even different EDM music where it's like something's house, something's trap, something's this, and I'm like, I can't fucking keep up, you know? I
yeah.
just like I know what music I like and I know what it is, and I find it so hard to match those genres or those categorizations unless it's some overarching thing with a specific song or music.
Yes, I feel the same way. When I said like I guess I don't have a personal opinion, I guess I do. And it's that to a certain degree, like I respect it being there, but sometimes I'm like, okay, this is getting a little much. Can we just do a little bit more generalization? You know what I
Yeah, like,
mean?
I don't know, maybe we need to categorize things differently because I just think it's like I don't enjoy it, but I get there's alternative, there's folk music, like I can tell those general differences, but then once we go further and deeper down there, I'm like,
Yeah. I'm
this is
with you.
getting niche, guys.
I,
This is
yeah. I'm not surprised to hear Vince Staples. I would have been surprised if I didn't hear you say that, but I feel like I didn't know about ASAP Rocky and Slater's
Mhm.
albums being your favorites.
Yeah,
So that checks out. That checks out. I
yep.
still haven't listened. It's on my to-do list, but I still haven't listened to Vince Staples' album per your recommendation. So
Hey,
I will have
and
to
that's the fun part, you now have something to new music to
do.
still find
Yeah.
and listen to. Okay, what's your last one? Give it to
My
me.
last my last one is really tough to decide because it was essentially a tie, but for the sake of the rules, I will only say one. And it's really up until this moment that I'm making that decision. But I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be Isaiah Huron Huron's, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. His Mr. Love Bomb album.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't shock me.
I think
what's the other one? Just fucking tell me.
it's it's Kehlani's self-titled
Okay,
album.
I would have thought, okay, I was,
Yeah.
you know,
But, like, Kehlani's album is a little bit longer, and so, to be fair to the question of our favorite albums, there are no, I retract everything I just said about, like, I still love her album. There's, like, a 1 or 2 songs that I don't love on her album, so I think that's why I ended up leaning a little bit, but again, she has a longer album, so to not like 1 or 2 songs or to not regularly listen
that
to
is
1 or
like,
2.
yeah.
But I almost feel like that's too easy for me. So I'm gonna go with just know they're a tie, but I'm gonna claim Isaiah's Mr. Love Bomb album because I think too, I saw him live this year and I had a couple of his songs saved from his first album last year, but it's kind of like one of those situations where you're discovering new music and I saw one song from him and I saved it and I liked it, but I never did a deep dive on him as an artist. So
Yeah.
once this new album came around, it was only then that I realized like, oh, I like listened to a handful of songs by this guy, but I never really clocked it. So then I saw him live and he performed. This album had come out, I want to say like 2 weeks before I saw him live. Ironically, though, everyone in the audience was going word for word with him, which was pretty impressive. But he has a very charismatic stage. Like he has a very charismatic stage energy, and I wouldn't have necessarily expected that. I didn't have any sort of expectation, but I was genuinely surprised at how good of a stage what's the word I'm looking for? Stage
Presence.
energy?
Presence.
Presence. Thank you. I was like, stage energy is not right. He has
Like,
a
it got the
really
vibe, you know?
it got the vibe across, but I was like, there's
Yeah.
a word I'm looking for and it's not
Yeah.
coming. He has a very charismatic stage presence and just a very good performer. And I think sometimes qualities like that don't necessarily always shine through in the music because you can't tell the person's performing or singing live. And so I think that made me have even more of an appreciation for him. And then, of course, after seeing him only after 2 weeks of this album coming out, I then was like, let me really go dive into this album now that I have unlimited time. And I just really enjoy it. He falls under the R&B category. There's probably some subcategory that he falls under as well. I also think he's kind of like on the up and up it's not that he's like a brand new artist, but I think he's starting to get a little bit more flowers
Momentum.
momentum. He was supposed to be one of the openers for Kehlani's world tour this summer, but he actually just made a post on Instagram saying he had to last minute pull out to make his own album and like deadlines. So he won't be there anymore, but I've already seen him live this year, so I'm not complaining. Yeah, he's my
I
third.
I feel like you just talked through something that was super interesting. There's a big difference between hearing a single and then connecting with the artist and more of their catalog. You just gave a full journey of going from initial discovery to like, you'll be a fan for whatever he probably does moving forward and having that connection
Mhm.
because of like where he was just this random guy last summer, but because of seeing his like the live performer element in there, having a good album that's there, now knowing who he is as a person and an overall artist, I feel like you went on a journey with him
Mhm.
in this
Yeah.
last year of becoming you'll be a fan that looks out for everything he does moving
Right.
forward now.
Right.
Unless he completely fucking shits the bed on something like, you
Or
know.
or just puts out a very different style album
Yeah,
that
so
is
like
not
it
it's not my
yeah,
music. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, you're right. The full journey of like what that looks like when you become a fan of an artist versus just like a couple songs and then
You
realize,
like a
oh,
single,
this
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it wasn't even like a single necessarily. It was like a couple songs off the album, but I just hadn't even I found them all at different times and so they were saved in my playlists at different moments and they weren't like all concentrated together. But yeah, Isaiah Huron, Mr. Love Bomb.
Okay, let's go.
Mhm.
Alright.
I think we've been really fed with music for this first 6 months of the year, and I'm really excited. We both know of albums coming out soon that we're both looking forward to, so I'm excited to revisit this conversation for the second half of the year. And I almost feel like there needs to be a conversation. Okay, we did the first 6 months, now we do the last 6 months, but then we do a different conversation of our favorite albums of the year because that would be
Yeah,
I feel like we
we have
can't.
to rank around, and then also, I mean, like, favorite songs because not
Yeah.
everything has been an album. Favorite new
Yeah.
artists of the year.
Mhm.
We'll have plenty to talk about. Plenty.
Plenty. And I have
Oh,
plenty to listen to once again per your recommendation. So
I have to
that
go
gives
listen to
me
Friday because literally nothing.
nothing.
Nothing. And Rad
Mhm.
Wave,
Rod
apparently, that's what
Wave.
I've picked
Rod
up.
Wave.
Yeah.
I do feel like you might know a song or two by Rod Wave, but like maybe don't realize it. Or maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
No? Well, we'll just have to
I
see.
just I feel like I don't. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
But he is
Well,
sell he is playing arenas. Like, that's
mhm.
how have I never heard of this man? Crazy.
Crazy. Well,
Okay.
I guess until next time.
Until next time. Hey, and everyone in the audience here, go listen to some of these new songs, these new albums.
It was such a that felt like such a dad joke. I don't even know, it wasn't a joke. It just a dad comment.
Go listen to music. Come on.
Uh,
Oh, funny, funny. All right.
well, should we cheers it out? See you later. Oh, you held that one for a while.
I was a little animated there. Okay.